Welcome back to the live coverage of YCS London 2018, the second largest YCS this year. So we got massive numbers, more than 1,600 players. Only reason it's not the largest one is because we just had YCS Utrecht, which was the 200th YCS. But we got another special match in store for you guys. Coming up on the stage right now, we got Tim Bayer in the red corner. Hello? How are you doing, Tim?
Very good. I backed my friend the feature judge for 2 YCS to give me a feature match, so finally got one. Hopefully I brick. So yeah.
Did you travel here super early? Are you super prepared for this event?
Yeah, I traveled here yesterday morning. I arrived at 8 a.m. But I didn't test for a week prior to this event. But I tested the deck. I play for till it came out, so should be good.
What's your expectation for the event and for the feature match?
For the feature match, hopefully I don't brick. And for the event, it would be nice to have a YCS top, but I only started playing again a year ago, so it's not bad if I don't even day 2. Day 2 is my standard, but okay.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Well, have a seat. Welcome to the feature match table. I hope you're not super nervous about it. I think you're gonna do just fine. In the blue corner, we got Seaman from the UK. Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, thank you very much. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. First YCS, so scary times, man. Scary times. Yeah. Didn't expect to get called up for this today. So.
That would have been my next question. Yeah, how are you feeling right now? A bit nervous?
Yeah, it's definitely surprising to be called up for feature match, but at the same time, it's another game, right? So. Right.
How was your travel here? How are you preparing for the event?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Got here at 8:30 this morning. Trains were great, so yeah, I can't complain. It's been a few months of practice. Been playing the game again for say 4 months, so yeah, just getting back in after playing OG format say 15 years ago. So
you're both in a similar situation. One thing I noticed was you had some very friendly chat leading into the match, and you were picking some information from your opponent, basically.
Well, at the end of the day, I think everyone here, we're all adults, right? We're all here to have fun. A bit of friendly conversation goes a long way, so.
It absolutely does, but I liked it from a strategic perspective when you were asking questions like, so how did your games go? And he says something like, yeah, they were over pretty quickly, so you can then make a mental note, it's an explosive tech.
Always trying to work out what's going on, definitely.
Yeah, some sneaky techniques right there. We're going to see if those pay out. Please have a seat.
Thanks very much.
So both our players are ready. We didn't talk about the decks, you just heard that there was some friendly chatter going on. We're gonna hear all about the strategy in just a second when I take you guys over to Dom Galizia and Tom Payne, our casters for the round.
Thank you, Oliver Gurman, thank you. Yes, I'm here with Tom again, and Tim Bayer's playing a really unusual deck. We don't see it too much, Tom. Crusadia.
Crusadia, yeah. I think Ollie assumes the worst about people, I thought he was just being friendly.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
You're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
But
Crusadia, yeah, we saw it in YCS Utrecht, take down a Sky Striker deck.
Yep.
Very explosive. Summons it summons a huge monster, makes it inflict double battle damage, and then tries to attack for 8,000 if it can.
And then Ashley Seaman's playing the True Draco, which we're more familiar with in recent events.
It seems it's really popular in Europe. Just every event, just why not?
Cool Dragons,
Draco.
right?
It's a bit like Burning Abyss.
Ever popular thing. Ever popular thing.
I mean, it's not been around for as long, but ever since it's been around, it's been played in almost every event.
Well, without further ado, I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Sorry, guys, I need to stop you there. I'm super excited. Look at this. Signed by Marek and Joey. Here at the London XL, we've got the Yu-Gi-Oh booth in the next hall as well. So not only do we have the YCS event going on, we also have the stand with Duel Links and with...
Luke gave that to Dom.
He did.
To show off on the stream. I'm not sure he's getting it back.
He's not getting it back. I'm sorry, Luke. I'm really fond of you. I'm grateful that you gave it to me to show on the stream, but you're not getting it back. I think I'm more excited than the guys on the match table. So without further ado, let's go over to the match table.
Right, so my guess is that whoever wins the dice roll, that the person playing True Draco will go first. Because the True Draco deck normally goes first, and the Crusadia deck normally wants to go second.
So they'll both be quite happy with that.
So actually, the thing is, if you want to go second, you want to lose the dice roll. Because that way, your opponent chooses to go first, and you don't give them the information that you've chosen to go second.
So it's quite a tactical ploy there.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that you want to lose the dice roll, but most of the time you would rather that you didn't give away that information, because if it narrows down quite significantly what type of deck you might be playing. So Crusadia should probably be on the radar of someone. If your opponent chooses to go second, you might think, they might be playing Crusadia, they might be playing Pendulum, I don't know. There are some, like a lot of decks just naturally want to go first. It's quite a big
So it could be a bit of a tactical advantage, actually.
Yes, building your deck to go second is a strategy that we're seeing more of, because now there are a lot of cards take a card like Evenly Matched, exceptionally powerful going second. So if you're willing to just include all these cards in your deck, you know you're going to go second every time if you want to, pretty much, because most people will choose to go first. So it's a strategy that we're starting to see come up more and more, is people building their deck specifically to go second because you know you will go second every time if you want to.
Yeah, and I mean, it as you said, you're seeing it more and more. It's quite a tactical ploy that, there are a whole bunch of cards in your deck that just stop your opponent from doing what they want to do.
Exactly,
and then when you go off, when it's your turn, it seems like you're more in a strong position, if you like.
Yeah. So we saw Ashley did win the dice roll, which is good. I mean, Ashley's probably happy about it, and so is Tim.
Yes. And Tim on the quiet is planning. Oh, well, he doesn't know what
He doesn't know what he's up against.
Exactly.
Honestly, I mean, Tim doesn't know what he's up against, but so basically, I think what Crusadia plans their game plan, it may not be prepared for the number of powerful floodgates that are in the True Draco deck. So there's a couple of copies of the Monarchs Erupt, Goes and Match, Rivalry of the Warlords. I think all of the Crusadia cards are different types. I don't know if they're all light. I have the feeling that they might be, but that might just be wrong. I don't know them well enough.
We're about to find out. It looks like we're about ready to start. They've drawn their cards.
Can you see the Card of Demise? I can see the Card of Demise. That's the one that jumps out at me.
It's in...
well, it's presumably not in the Crusadia player's hand, It's also not on his deck list, but...
Who's feeling confident right now, Tom?
They've
drawn their cards. They're looking at their starting hands.
I think... I mean, the thing is for Tim...
He's got a pot of desires.
His hand is strong enough. I mean, actually, to be fair, it's got no Crusaders, so maybe he's unhappy about it. And the Kaijus... I mean, although the Kaijus do disrupt the True Draco deck and what they're trying to accomplish, I don't think they really care enough. I think really what the Kaijus are doing is trying to get around cards which would interrupt you. So if there's a powerful interrupting monster like a Thunder Dragon Colossus, or in the case of against Sky Strikers, it turns off all of their spells. They don't have any Sky Striker traps. Turns off all of basically just the Widow Anchor because it puts a monster in their main monster zone. So really what the Kaiju wants to do is turn off the defensive capability of the opponent's deck. But against True Draco, the monsters don't offer any defensive capabilities, really. I mean, they're good monsters, don't get me wrong. It's not bad Kaijuing them, but it's not... I'm not sure Tim really cares whether his opponent is searching cards.
So we're seeing quite a strong opening here from Ashley.
Yeah, I don't think he can have any complaints.
No.
I mean, he may wish to... I mean, he's drawn the second copy of Card of Demise, which would be great for next turn, but it's obviously not going to interrupt his opponent from doing anything on this turn. And then what's his fourth set? So I can see 3 sets.
Yeah, we need to wait for that to update, but straight away Tim goes into...
That's Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It's a Dark Hole mixed with a card which summons monsters. I don't know. It destroys all the monsters on the field and then summons some Kaijus.
From the decks, right?
Yeah. 1
for each of them.
Yeah, summons 2 from your deck, 1 to each side of the field.
Yep.
It's a bit of a strange one, because it's like...
A lot of people were playing it a few, am I right, a few years back almost to kind of just clear the field, because there were some really high presence monsters which were
if
awkward.
You're running, so it's quite nice to clear the field, but then so if you compare it to something like Dark Hole, it's a lot easier to negate Interrupted Slumber because it has that extra effect. So it can be negated by Ash, for example, which Dark Hole can't be. So this might prompt the Rivalry of the Warlords. I'm not...
Yep.
It's a bit of a strange one, Rivalry, because on the one hand you want to hold it for as long as you can to make your opponent summon monsters and then send cards, but now it gives Tim the choice of which monster he wants to keep. So he could send the Kaiju,
Yep.
keep the Mech Knight, and then banish the Mech Knight, and then he would have no monster on the field, and then he could choose yet again what monster he wanted, which is what he's elected to do.
Ashley seemed quite comfortable there. He looked, you know, without hesitation almost activated that. So he obviously feels in a good position to bring that to the table straight off the bat, if you like.
Yeah, so no, I was questioning whether he may have wanted to use it earlier, but it's hard to say. He still might not know what he's up against because he's seen some Mech Knights and he's seen some Kaijus.
Yes.
He's not seen any Crusadia cards.
Oh, yes.
And I don't think, well, he's not going to, he's probably going to search. It's nice to do as many search effects as you can before using the Pot of Desires, so you don't accidentally
Banish the ones you want to.
Well, not only that, you don't want to draw them either. So they're bad banishes and bad draws, so you might as well get as many out of the deck as you can. I think the Rivalry might be a bit of a nasty card.
For Tim.
For Tim.
Yes.
Although granted, the Rivalry is a reasonably nasty card for Ashley as well now, because he has got the he's got a dinosaur in his field, and the true Draco monsters are all worm type. So I think his main way out of that is a Draconic Diagram to destroy his own Kaiju.
Rivalry.
I would destroy the Kaiju, personally. You might want to destroy the Rivalry so you can attack your opponent with the Kaiju.
Depends on the aggression. I'm going to go with you know more about this.
I'm going to go, well, yeah. I mean, if you were going to attack for game, keep the 3000 monster, but if you're not, I think most of the time you'd probably rather keep the Rivalry. And that Hey Trunade, which is an exceptionally powerful card against Sky Striker, is honestly quite underwhelming against Ashley's deck, because all of his trap cards, almost all of them, are continuous traps. And Hey Trunade only returns face down ones to the field, to the hand. So it's kind
so
of
he could quite just easily activate that, thinking that he's,
yeah.
and then Ashley just responds.
I think he knows that it's just not going to do anything against Ashley, to be honest. It's like,
he does seem to have a lot of options in his hand. I mean,
he's got a lot of cards in his hand, but
because of the
Rivalry
Rivalry
is
shutting him down.
Yeah, it really shuts you down. It really limits what you can do. So I guess we'll see what Ashley's drawn for turn. So he's really looking for a Draconic Diagram here. I'm interested that he's choosing to draw cards before using the card of Demise. Because card of Demise you need to have, I mean, ideally you want to have as few cards as possible in your hand before using the card of Demise. And I'm pretty sure he just drew the Draconic Diagram for turn. I think he's going to be happy regardless what happens, because that can destroy the Dogoran and then search him another monster and then keep going. Honestly, I'm not sure about whether it's correct to set a face down spell or trap against True Draco. That's just a bluff, because they're just going to destroy it. Like, there's nothing else to destroy with their spells, so when they naturally tribute a spell to tribute summon a monster, they might as well destroy it. I don't think they're going to be that afraid of you, you know, teching in that one copy of Waking the Dragon. But I think he needs to put that in his opponent's graveyard. Try and steal his Kaiju.
Ashley seems to be really enjoying it, though. Like, the response, you know, when Ollie was asking him questions, he was really positive.
It's quite fun being in a
he's
feature match. I quite like being in a feature match. Yeah,
that resonates with me. I'm easily excited by Yu-Gi-Oh! So the fact that I see that Ashley's having a good time, that's really good.
I mean, I think he's.
And I'm a big fan of True Dracos as well.
You're a big fan of True Dracos?
Yeah, I was a big fan of them.
I quite like playing the cards.
They were quite strong.
I don't like how they're more or less now just a deck which runs, like, is capable of running many continuous trap cards, which are very mean, and try and stop your opponent from doing anything.
Yeah, there were a number of trap cards.
There are a number of trap cards in the deck here. We can see Anti-Spell, we can see Goes and Match, we can see Rivalry, we can see basically all of the nastiest Imperial Order and Skill Drain. All of the meanest cards.
And how do we feel the Crusadia deck here? With how's Tim going to live up to those? If do we feel that he's got a real good out to this Rivalry, and then what happens if?
So he is main decking 3 Twin Twister.
Which is a real good card,
so
right?
yeah, it's a card basically. It's kind of see or bust. I think he needs to draw this Twin Twister to out his rivalry. The problem is that Ashley's got a lot of cards face down, so Twin Twister, you know, it does destroy 2. So if Ashley's got something like another rivalry, which he just drew, which we just saw.
We can see that in his hand, yes.
So he's going to have to pick one blindly, and unless that one he picks happens to be the second rivalry, then the second rivalry will just get flipped, and then...
Oops.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's even if he draws the Twin Twister in the first place.
Sure, yeah, sure. And that is a lot of face downs.
That is a lot of face downs. So... I mean, this is a bit of a strange one for Tim. I mean, to me in this situation, I can't see him coming back from here, but maybe.
Is it just the sheer resources that Ashley has on the field, or is it what he's drawn into in particular?
Well, that Twin Twister is what he wants. But what I was going to say is, like, in a situation where it's going to take you a long time to lose the game,
yes,
and you don't think you're going to be able to come back into it, you probably don't want to continue playing.
Is that from your perspective? Is that about not revealing needless information about the deck, or is that more about just
it's about the time as
the
well.
clock?
Yeah, I think when you've played a turn, your opponent probably... I mean, to be fair, he still hasn't played any Crusadia cards. He has just discarded a Crusadia card. But you don't want to tell your opponent...
excessive amounts of information about your deck, right?
But more is the time that I'm concerned about, because the game, like, in theory, if the game took 40 minutes, then you would lose without even getting to play another game. But ideally, like, I think most players would value the chance of getting to win over, like, a guaranteed draw. You'd much rather have the opportunity to play a fuller game 3 than possibly not if the first game goes on for a grind. And True Draco can really set up a sort of grindy situation. They've got the so there's now no monster effects, right, because of the True Hound. What's it called? Monarch's Erupt, that's the name. Although the Monarch's Erupt is now going to get turned off. Well, it's not going to get turned off, is it? The Monarch's Erupt destroys itself in your own end phase if you've got no Tribute Summon monsters. But he will be able to get out another Tribute Summon monster because he's got the diagram which can search. So, yeah, I think this is a sort of game where it's going to be a very slow and painful grind for Tim. Especially with the diagram prevents, so, like, no monster effects, right, with the True Draco, not the True Draco, the Monarch's Erupt. He's got no monster effects. He's going to have a big attack monster which can't be destroyed by battle.
So it's
like, yeah, he needs to get 2 monsters out with over 2,800 attack. So that's really hard work. And then even if he does get through that, then Ashley can search True King's Return, and that can just start bringing back this wall of monsters that have got lots of attack and defense. So you really start to find yourself in a bit of a sinkhole when you're staring down this skill drain type effect.
So it's looking like this game is going to go in favour of Ashley, but we just don't know. I mean, is there more back row removal that if he draws into another
copies of Twin Twisters, yeah.
So could that change the game? Say he draws into a second copy of the Twin Twisters.
I mean, it could, but the problem with playing like Twin Twisters is 2 cards out of your hand each time you play it.
Yep.
So then you start to run low on cards.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see, but it will take a while for the True Draco deck to finish out the game, because in a situation where he's already got some monsters up, it will take a while. But I would say Ashley opened like really strong with that. Once you if you use the first card of Demise, you draw the second one. It's kind of like it's like iffy, because it doesn't stop your opponent from doing what they want to do on their turn, but then once you make it to your next turn, all of a sudden you've got another card of Demise and you can just do it all again. But Tim has seen the writing on the wall there.
So there we have it. Game 1 goes to Ashley. He looked quite confident from the beginning, it must be said.
I think his deck really did what it wanted, yeah. Drawing that rivalry, card of Demise into Floodgate Trap, plus I think many people's complaints about the Draco deck is that what from playing it myself is that often it doesn't assemble all of the pieces. You need a monster, you need a spell and trap, you need a couple of draw cards, and you need your card of Demise, and you need your ways to stop your opponent. And he needed to, after all of that, he did need to draw the diagram, which he did.
He did.
So if it gets everything it needs, it's incredibly powerful. But there are a lot of decks, like almost all the decks, if they get everything they need, they're really powerful. So I guess it's
so the
up to you
synergy
how
there
often you
from
think.
Ashley's deck worked exactly how he intended.
Oh yeah. So
He's probably feeling really happy right now.
Yeah.
First match, first
game,
YCS,
yeah.
first match on a feature match, and
first
he
game
takes the
very
win.
comfortably won. Yeah.
Yeah, so now they're going to go into their side decks. What are we thinking here? Because
I
he
don't-
already main decks the Twin Twisters, so he's obviously aware of the floodgates that we're talking about.
Yeah. I
So
don't know what Ashley's going to side. Honestly, looking at his deck, I don't know if there's anything he's going to side. Because
you think he might just stick with?
well, he's seen his cruise. Oh, he's siding in some Forbidden Chalices. Forbidden Chalice makes some amount of sense, because if you're playing a deck that relies on a lot of trap cards, then you're expecting people to have red reboots in their side deck. So if you have something like Forbidden Chalice, then that's a spell that can still interrupt your opponent, which is very nice, because the red reboots stand up for your traps,
saw a
you've still
lot of
got one interrupt.
Red Reboot saw a lot of play this year, right?
Oh yeah, I think red reboot is going to be played for as long as it's around. As long as people are playing decks with traps in, it's a card from your hand that shuts off all of your opponent's traps for an entire turn. It's pretty incredible,
Yep.
as far as I'm concerned. Like, I think it's quite a landmark card. Like, compare it to Denko Sekka. Like, I mean, Denko also has the added benefit of shutting off spells, sure, but Denko you have to normal summon. You have to use your...
You have to give up your normal
You have to give up your normal
You only get
summons
one of
with
those.
Denko. You only get one of those, whereas this, sure, you have to pay half your life points, but you can do that as many times as you want. You can't normal summon more than once.
Nope.
Unless you play double summon. But still, wouldn't, seems like a bit of a long shot.
So they're shuffling up.
So I'm guessing that Ashley's going to be made to go first, because the
Will that surprise him? Not really, after what he's seen. Does he know everything about Tim's deck at this point? Or
I mean, he's seen the Mech Knights, so even if he's not that familiar with what the Crusadia cards do, he's probably familiar with what the Mech Knights have done, because I think it's impossible to have been playing for a few months and not have seen some Mech Knight cards and realise, oh, these are quite good when I have some cards on the field. So you'd probably assume that you're going second. You're going first. So we've now got Tim's hand in. I'm interested that he chose to keep in the Kaiju.
2 copies of Duality for Ashley, which lets him see a fair amount of his deck.
Yeah. He's got one of the traps. Makes sense to me.
He's got he drew a copy of the Rivalry, which is good for him.
Oh yeah, it's excellent for him.
It does look. Tim hand looks pretty good as well. He's got a copy of the Twin Twisters, so he can send that copy of Rivalry away.
Yeah, that Rivalry is not going to be bothering him so much.
No.
I'm not sure he's got as many Crusadia monsters as he would like. In fact, he has no Crusadia monsters.
Yeah, that happened to him last game as well. He had to go off with the Mech Knights first, didn't he?
Honestly, I mean, yeah, I suppose the Kaiju in this. The Kaiju's kind of interesting, because to me, I like to have cards which stick to my game plan. And so my game plan against True Draco, well, my game plan with Crusadia is to OTK. Well, I don't play Crusadia, but if I was playing Crusadia at this time, the game plan would be to try and OTK my opponent. And against the True Draco deck, Kaijus don't actually help, because the monsters don't interrupt you at all. So sure, it will deny Ashley the monster he wants, but that's sort of to deny him some resources, to deny him some card advantage for later turns. So personally, I think I would have side decked out the Kaijus. And possibly.
Do we think that's what he did side out? Because you said he side.
No, he's got one in his hand.
Okay, so.
I also.
So what would he have side out from that? Do you think? Because we saw some
I would
chalices.
side out Hey Trunade on his part for sure, because it just doesn't do anything. All of the traps are continuous.
We saw the chalices going in for Ashley. Sorry.
For Ashley, yeah.
So what would he have
I think he'd
taken
just
out?
take out sort of. I don't actually know whether everything's light in the Crusadia deck. Honestly, I think.
And he's seen that copy of Pot of Duality off of both Duality activations.
He really wants to get to his hand.
Like, add me, please add me. Nope.
So he's picked up True Draco Apocalypse. So I'll be interested to see whether Tim shotguns the Mech Knight now, well, on the set of the card, because otherwise, yeah, he is. So he's clever there, because if his opponent had Tribute summoned first, then he would have already had a True Draco monster on the field, and then using the Mech Knight effect would have triggered the True Draco monster effect and given Ashley a free extra card. Whereas by doing it now, Ashley does not get a free extra card, which is better than Ashley getting a free extra card.
Indeed.
So that was a nice play.
Cards win games.
Cards win games.
So does Jinzo. I've seen Jinzo walking around, by the way.
I have.
He's been amazing. He's really friendly. He goes over, says hello to a lot of people. And
we should get him in the feature. Do you reckon he's playing a Jinzo deck?
Could you imagine if Jinzo is playing Jinzo?
You'd hope he is.
I hope he is. I hope he is. We're going to find out, viewers. We're going to find out.
I remember seeing a very cool Jinzo deck a very long time ago where you used Future Fusion to send like 3 copies of Jinzo Returner and summon 3 Jinzos from your deck.
Oh, Jinzo. That card just... I'm emotionally attached to that card. I remember...
It doesn't work the same way it does in the anime, which is very sad.
Yeah.
Jinzo just
A lot of
destroyed all
cards.
of your opponent's traps in the anime and stopped them from working.
Yes.
But it just stops them from working in the real game. But I suppose there are a lot of cards which don't work exactly
I was
like
going
they
to say,
do
a
in the
lot of
anime.
cards work slightly differently and some quite differently. And
Indeed.
so we see Tim assembling quite a good field there.
It's a big board.
It does. It looks pretty good to me. I mean,
Yeah, I mean the Mech Knights are kind of, it's good for monsters to have lots of stats, but basically, more often than not, you try and use them as link materials. So the stats are like, they're big, and then you're just like, oh, I'm just going to link it away. Well, it's still one link material, even if it's got 2,500 attack points. But he can threaten to enter the battle phase, because the True Draco summon effects can only be used in the main phase. So if he sort of threatens the battle phase, that would take away all of the sort of defensive capabilities for Ashley. But Ashley's let him enter the battle phase and use the effect of True Draco Apocalypse to halve the attack of all of Tim's monsters.
I love the artworks on the True Dracos as well, by the way. They're pretty impressive.
I'm interested, he's not destroyed anything with True King's Return. I'm not sure why. Because what you can do is use True Draco Apocalypse in the damage step. So then the target for True King's Return. So True King's Return's a trigger effect, so it will still work in the damage step.
Okay.
But you cannot use just a random quick effect like Mech Knight, Purple Nightfall in the damage step. So he is now destroying something, and it stops. Hang on, is he destroying something? He's picking them up. I don't know.
There's a lot of discussion going on over there.
Well, I mean, they've got to calculate the damage now that everything's been halved, I guess. People having to do arithmetic. Don't know if either of them have calculators. I can't see either of the judges getting involved, so there's not that much of a dispute. Okay.
No, I think they're just
So
counting up.
he has destroyed the Purple Nightfall with True King's Return, and the Purple Nightfall cannot be chained in the damage step, which is quite neat.
So we're in main phase 2 now.
Indeed we are. We see the new Mech Knight Link monster. Search any World Legacy card, and it's kind of your choice of the World Legacy Succession. It's a pretty good card. I'm guessing that's what he's looking for. I can't see anything else in his deck that he can search.
No, and he looked like he was frantically looking for something. You know, it was specific.
I've definitely done that before. When you go past the card you're looking for, and you're
You
like,
get
I know
overly
it's there.
excited. You're like, no, I know what I want, and you just go buy it.
And then you go, where is it? And this is like, World Legacy Succession is... It's basically like Monster Reborn. It's just got a bit of a caveat that you have to summon the monster that you're summoning to a zone that your link monster points to. I don't know why he summoned Indigo Eclipse and not Purple Nightfall. Purple Nightfall's got more attack.
Could be a ploy.
Could
We've
be a
seen it
ploy.
before many times.
Well, what's the ploy?
I don't know. That's what I was hoping you would tell me.
But I just said I don't know why he did it.
Then
It's also got an effect which you can use to search another Mech Knight. And in particular, I mean, he might have run out of Mech Knights, he might not be able to search, but I still don't know why you wouldn't want the one with more attack points. I mean, the Mech Knights can only summon themselves with their own effect once per turn. But he's not even summoned a Purple Nightfall with its own effect this turn anyway. Very curious. So he's drawn Gozen Match, and again, I'm not sure. Yeah, I suppose he has seen some Crusadia cards. So he knows that his opponent's playing Crusadia. I honestly don't know off the top of my head what types, what attributes all of the Crusadia cards are. But the Mech Knights are obviously all Psychic and Light. And
those summon effects for the True Dracos, they are quite something, aren't they?
Well, the extra tribute summons?
Yes.
They're quite fun. I quite like it. In this situation, if you're Ashley, you're probably quite happy with the simplified game state. It's generally what you're trying to achieve. You have a monster with lots of attack points. And your cards don't need that much to combo off, and your opponent's also passed, which is pretty great.
Yes, he's just drawn in pass, so three Kaijus in the hand there.
Unfortunately, they've all got the same attack points as well. If they had different attack points, then you could give your opponent a weaker one and someone want to attack over it. They've all got 3/3, which is an interesting decision. I wonder if he's going to stick to his guns and pass again. It's kind of like this sort of sunk cost thing. So, you know, he could have done something last turn. He chose not to.
Yeah, he's having a good thing.
Now he's got to decide whether he's going to do the same thing that he could have done last turn this turn, and he's decided it is now worth it. One of the most inefficient ways of killing your opponent's monster is to use 2 of your Kaijus, but it works.
Yep. He's just looking out for his life points by doing that.
I think that makes sense. The thing for Ashley now is you can have all your floodgates, but none of them actually stop your opponent from just summoning a monster and attacking you. You actually just need a monster on your field that's bigger than theirs to do that.
Yeah, and he draws the Imperial Order and he sets it, so
now both players are in this sort of top-decking situation.
Yeah, they're both looking for a monster, aren't they?
I think Ashley really wants that card of Demise, you know. Or this. I mean, what's it called? Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. It's a very good draw in this situation because it just draws you another card and gives you the continuous spell. So just like a free gift from your deck of a face-up continuous spell. And if it's not answered, then it'll... I think he's got enough juice in his graveyard to just draw again next turn. Be nice to see what he's drawn. Oh, he has drawn the card of Demise.
That was an amazing draw. That was exactly what he wanted to draw. So he's going to draw lots of more cards now.
He is. Big reaction from Tim.
Yeah, the crowd was quite excited by that.
He didn't look overly happy with it. Now we see the nice and amusing interaction of spirit monsters with card of Demise, which is that if you've got... you can resolve the... I don't know if it's an effect. I don't know. Whatever you call it. You can resolve the card of Demise discard before returning the spirit monster to your hand. So you get to keep the spirit monster.
Yeah, that...
And the thing is, the card of Demise is there, so I guess you're going to see it eventually. He's not going to do any damage this turn. Yeah,
although Tim might not have been happy, he was probably aware that Ashley was coming.
There was still 3 of them in the deck.
Yep.
I'm interested he chose to just discard the Disciples rather than set it. I mean, I suppose you don't want to ever get clogged.
What did Tim draw there? It looks like it's a copy of Twin Twisters.
It's not really ideal for him here. I think he really, really wanted to see another Crusadia. Yeah, that second Crusadia, you can start doing some Crusadia combos. But, he's already got the red reboot, which deals with all of his opponent's spell and trap cards.
He's going straight into it, though.
But now I think... I mean, the twin being met with Imperial Order is always... This is a bit gruesome, really.
Yes.
2 cards for none. No, he's just letting it through. That is an interesting one. I'm not really sure why he let that through. He has got an Imperial Order face down.
I'm going to go with it's part of Ashley's master plan.
He also didn't use the Ignis. I don't know if he's just got no spells left, but I feel like he does have some spells left because there are 6 in the deck. Maybe he just...
And it's looking really good for Ashley right now.
Maybe he just forgot his Imperial Order was face down?
I'm not sure he was checking through them.
I mean, he looked at the cards that were targeted. Maybe if the Imperial Order had been targeted, he'd have chained it. I mean, now he doesn't actually have any defense left to some Crusadia combos, but given the reaction...
And Tim doesn't look happy there, does he?
Tim, I don't think he's seen that second Crusadia that he really wants to see. So he's just going to have to set one, which is pretty gruesome. And I think the Amano Awato and Ignis can just attack the game in the situation.
It's looking good for... It's looking real good for Ashley.
Barring
Tim's body language is kind of giving it away Reaper at this point, but...
and the set monster.
And there's the handshake. So Ashley Seaman, the home player, playing at his first YCS, takes the win. He must be so happy. Let's talk about that a little bit more in the post-match. So welcome back. Yes, Ashley, really happy. Must be really happy with that win. He's 2-0 in his first feature match at his first YCS at his home country.
Pretty good going. He's probably pretty happy.
I mean, the first game as well, when he draws into the card of Demise off of Disciples, that was pretty clutch, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think Tim needed, given that Tim wasn't drawing the Crusadia cards, he wasn't really going anywhere, so I think he probably would have just outgrinded him anyway eventually, but drawing that card of Demise is so demoralizing when your opponent draws it.
It just felt like we didn't see the Crusadia side to Tim's deck at all.
I'd say that was a fairly fair comment.
He drew.
He didn't summon any Crusadia monsters for the whole game. Yeah.
For both duels.
The Crusadia monsters, they need 2 of them, and he drew 1 in each.
And he drew plenty of the Mech Knights, and it looked like in game 2 that there was a point when he summoned the the Kaijus, that if he was to draw that second Crusadia, that the game might turn, but wasn't to be.
Wasn't to be.
Yes. So let's have a little talk about what we think they could have done differently. You said quite in game 2 there that you were surprised that Ashley didn't activate a Imperial Order. Do you think there was more reason for that? Was he looking to draw into some additional True Draco spell cards or anything that he didn't want to have negated down the line, or?
I would just call that a mistake.
Okay.
I mean, keeping a Gozen and a rivalry seems like a pretty good thing to do to me.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't really. I mean, obviously, like he might draw into Card of Demise or whatever, but I would much rather be keeping my 2 floodgates.
Okay, fair enough. So, as mentioned, Ashley takes the win in his first YCS. He must be feeling incredibly happy.
Well, you can tell us about it.
Indeed, they can. So let's head over to Oliver Gurman, and he's on the stage now.
Well, thank you, Dom and Tom. This was an amazing match from what I heard. I heard the crowd even react to this one. They were like, oh my God, one of us, one from the UK, is in his first ever feature match, and he's doing quite well. I can see you're doing quite well indeed.
You know, did you see those misplays? Did you see those? The True Draco misplays, man. My opponent, gracious in defeat, and man, the guy bricked. The guy bricked. He's playing Crusadia Mech Knights. The Mech Knights I love in Crusadia. I love the Crusadia deck itself, but he saw no Crusadia cards, man. And what can I say?
I could tell a lot of sportsmanship showing from both of you guys. You both seem to have a good time despite his defeat.
Hey man, at the end of the day, I'm here to win games and have fun. You know, fun's the main aim at the end of the day, right? I mean, we've got to have a laugh doing it. If we don't have fun doing this, what's the point? What's the point?
If one of your mates would have told you, okay, you're going to your first ever YCS, you're going to have a feature match, and you're absolutely going to dominate in that feature match, what would you have said?
I would have said, no way. I mean, I said to the guys the other day, feature match is something I'm not looking forward to, don't want to get called up for one. Here we are, and apparently I won it with all those misplays. So, but again, there's nothing, that's not saying anything against my opponent. He bricked, man, he bricked. What can I say?
All right. Do you think differently about feature matches from now on?
Yeah, most definitely. I need to relax a little before I do so, but yeah, man, good fun. Jolly good fun.
I mean, I've seen a lot of players play here and also in events in general. I can definitely tell you have a very positive attitude.
Thanks very much.
And like people can feel that. I would 100% sure that if you play a few more, you're going to have a couple of fans who are like, yeah, I want to see this guy again.
Happy to, man, that would be fantastic. I mean, like I said, I just want to, have a good time with my opponent, and hopefully we can shake hands at the end and be friends still, you know what I mean?
All right, so where do you go from here? What was your expectation prior to the tournament? And like, do you think, okay, I can make day 2, or what's happening in your head right now?
In my head, there was no way beforehand. There was no way I was making day 2. We've now gone, I think that's the 3rd win. So, yeah, things are looking up. Things are looking rather sunny, So we'll see how the rest goes, man. We'll see how the rest goes.
There are different approaches. A lot of successful players, they take it one match at a time. Yeah. Just don't get like caught up. Even if you take a loss, this is even more important. Yeah. Just stay focused and go at it again in the next round.
I mean, I put it this way: in the last couple of months since coming back, I've seen enough losses. I'm cool under that. I'm cool, man. Yeah, don't worry.
So maybe you can tell us just a tiny little bit, like the area where you're from. What's the state of Yu-Gi-Oh right there? Do you have like very active locals?
Well, I'm from Essex. I grew up in Essex. I've moved around a little bit. I've moved back to a town called Harlow. There is a fantastic local hobby store there called Marquee Models. To be honest, the scene there is bigger than I expected coming back. I'm impressed. There's some, and I've made an awful lot of friends. So we've got Team Wind Up here. These are my boys representing Team Wind Up. I've met all these boys through the store, so I was honestly surprised and really happy with the state of the game in Harlow. Yeah, Marquee Models.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You're putting your team on the map.
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to my boys. Definitely. Team Wind Up. We've got Connor, Christian. We've got Taylor, and we've got Mitch and Scott at home, and James at home. Sweet ass.
All right, guys. So if we're going to see a winner from Team Wind Up, we are not going to be surprised anymore, because apparently these guys bring it to the table. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to be taking a short break. Got some more cool pre-recorded content from you, and then next round we're really going to up the ante with yet another feature that we're introducing for the first time ever. Actually, 2 features, make that 2. Got more in store for you guys. So with that, quick break, and then we're going to be back from YCS London 2018.